The internet is cracked, the show that asks the question, can we coexist with our creation?
Hello, I'm Seth Camillo.
And I'm Caroline Risberg, and we are The Internet is Cracked by Addicts for Addicts.
And we are so lucky to have Vanessa Briscoe Hay with us today. She is the lead singer, or she was the lead singer of Pylon, and now is the lead singer of the Pylon Reenactment Society. And they have just released a new album of original music called Magnet Factory. And you can get that. Where can you get that?
Well, a lot of independent stores stock that, but also you can go to our label website, which is strollingbonesrecords.com, strollingbonesrecords.com.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
Vanessa.
thank you so much for being here. And you're friends with my cousin Brenda from the Feelies.
Yeah. And the Feelies are longtime friends of Pylon. So it was really nice to reconnect with her recently when she came down south to a wedding.
And she reached out to you because I had mentioned you guys in an interview I did with her. Why don't we just start at the beginning? How did Pylon start?
Well, Pylon got their start back in the fall of 1978. Michael and Randy, the bassist and guitarist, they saw a vacuum in the Athens music scene because the B-52s had just left and there was really not anybody here. So Michael Husky, he was like roommates with Randy. He's like, I don't know. It's all been done, we were all art students. And he's like, so Randy's proposal was that we would go to New York, play once, get written up a New York rocker and disband, which is kind of like an art project,
Okay.
have a show coming up, you build up to the show, and then it's over. And that was kind of the idea behind it. And so they learned their instruments. They got a drummer, whoever heard him practicing, who lived upstairs from the studio.
Yeah, I read
and he
about
said,
that. That's hilarious. He said he already knew the songs before he started because he was listening in the studio above.
Yeah, that's right, Curtis Crowe. And he went down and was like, you need a drummer, don't you? And they were like, yeah, because they were about to start looking for one. And he dragged his drums in. And for him, it was going to be like temporary. But he ended up staying on board. And thank goodness, because he was the one that made it all gel. And then in February of 1979, on Valentine's Day, Randy came into my job. I was working the catalog department at JCPenney and said, hey, you want to come and audition for our band? And I was like, well, okay. I was like in town waiting on my first husband to graduate college. I didn't have anything to do. So, besides work. So, I came in, they explained the premise, and I thought, well, this isn't going to take up too much of my life. And here we are 44 years later, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
So how did you guys, how did you get your sound? Because it's so unique. How
Yeah.
did that really gel?
Well, I think it's because we were all artists to begin with. Some of us had some musical training. Like I was in the high school marching band, but that doesn't really translate to rock and roll. But what it does do is teaches you discipline. But I think that some of it was the times we were coming up in. Another thing that made the sound unique is Randy, when he started playing, he used alternate tuning, but I thought it was the correct tuning. He just taught himself to play. And so the alternate tuning gives it a different sound. And plus having a rhythm section that work together so well, it sounds basic, but everything is like a piece inside of a machine, that works. Everybody has their own parts. So I think what made it our sound was the fact it was these 4 particular people.
That's very
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
because everybody should listen to you. I only started listening to you. I'm not a great like I was really into REM for a lot of years. And then I heard a quote, I think it was during COVID lockdown. I don't remember if I read it or saw it, but somebody from REM said, we're not the, they got an award and they said, we're not the best band in the world. We're not even the best band in Athens. Pylon's the best band in
Yeah.
Athens, Georgia, which is where you're from. And I looked you guys up and, it was like, wow, this is amazing, amazing music. And
Yeah.
it just really, yeah, captured me, and, just love
So,
it.
that about that time, 2020, we were, Jason actually worked on this project with me. We were, getting ready, Pylon reissues of our first 2 albums and a box set that
Mm-hmm.
includes 2 other albums and a 200-page book, um,
Mm.
with it. And so we got a lot of press off of that, and I think, um, before that, a few years before there was a post-punk kind of rediscovery time among younger people. So we almost well, I would call us a true all ages band because when we played, like we played in Memphis and in Kansas City the other night, I would say at least half, if not more than half of the audience were in the 18 to 24-year-old age group that had rediscovered or discovered us for the first time and went, "Hey, I like this," you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's neat that it's aged so well, and maybe some of that you don't wanna, like, dissect things too much.
Sometimes things are just good.
Yeah, it just you
Yeah.
might lose a little bit of the magic or whatever if you start dissecting it. Just enjoy it, just do it, you
Yeah.
know?
That's a good point. Yeah. And that music is timeless in a way, it's very unique. It makes me very happy to hear that the younger people actually now finding that it's real in a way, like the real live performance and live music. And your band
Yeah.
is just amazing.
And, the last question I'll kinda ask before we start getting into technology and how it has affected you, what you think about all that stuff is, I watched, Athens, Georgia, Inside Out, and, I've been aware of, I was a big B-52s and REM fan, and I remember, like, they c came from the same place, same small town that makes no sense, and then now I'm seeing that there's all these bands, amazing bands that came from this small place, and what do you think is in the water down there that in Athens
Yeah, good question.
that makes all these bands appear?
Yeah.
Well, I think, well, there has always been a music scene in Athens, you know, that predated all of the modern music scene, and there is a great love of music, and, there was a
Mm.
community here already, um, but the B-52s were the ones that really put us on the map, and, the bands that came after, at least the first and second, maybe third group of bands made a point of not sounding like each other.
Mm.
And we had a scene that might have started with 50, 75 people. We had a great record store downtown called Chapter 3, and then a little later, Wextry. He brought in music from Europe and New York and the West Coast and whatever. So we were tied into that. We had a great art school, um, good vegetarian restaurant. When you have a scene, or just to put it, like compress it into a nutshell, you have to have a core group, and
Mm.
then over time, it snowballs to the point where there's a tipping point. And that that's what I see happen. The various people that were here. Like Jeremy Ayers, who had um, been part of Andy Warhol's factory scene. Um, Came back to Athens because that's where he was from. To be with his family, and he was friends with the B-52s. He wrote lyrics for B-52s and REM.
Mm,
Huge influence on, how they dressed and what they, like with the bees, for instance, Fellini
Yeah,
and
Fellini, nice.
mm,
Fellini-esque, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we were maybe a little more left field because we were purely coming from the art school.
mm,
But then after the popularity of the, REM especially, we started having people move into town and start bands. And to this day, we have new bands. There's a lot of great new bands here now, you
Oh,
know.
wonderful. Well, one thing from the movie, I'll just sort of start with this, was listening to REM singing that abandoned theater. I think it was abandoned. Um,
It was abandoned at the time, has since been restored.
but just
mm.
hearing Michael Stipe's voice, so honest and so real, you know,
Yeah,
it
and that
it
was a live recording.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that was a live recording, and now to compare that with what's sort of just what you feel has sort of happened to music in general as technology has sort of crept in, not even necessarily the internet, but just, digital recording, the ability to have so many plugins, the sort of the craziness that's come with new technologies, you know?
Yeah.
I think there is some authenticity, being lost, and I try my band, Pylon Reenactment Society, when we tried to record it old school, in the moment, all together. There are some overdubs, of course, but it's the same for people that perform live. Prune all the mistakes out. I think you're left with something lifeless. Sometimes the mistakes are like a happy mistake. They make it sound honest, real, and human.
Mm.
So I'm agreeing with you, Seth.
But that's true though. Like that was something human. I like that what you said. It's something human about it. Like it's real. It's raw in a way. It's like than it is today when everything is so, you know, computerized. It's I think it loses the I don't want to say it loses soul, but a part of me, like your music and during that time, it was soulful. It was from here. It was I don't know. I think that's very important
From the
actually.
heart.
Yeah, from the heart. It's raw,
Yeah.
it's real.
But how has the internet affected you and your band being heard? I mean, I heard about you through the internet, so in a way it's good, but how has it been good and how has it been bad, I guess, would be the question.
Well, it's good in a way that I'm able to connect with fans and people directly and let people know about us. But there is so much out there on the internet, it's not really curated. So um I don't like I don't like buy attention, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Uh
yeah,
but I know that some people have bought followers or whatever, but
yeah,
the people that come to us and discover us and like us and follow us, I try to show them what we're doing, where we're gonna be playing, um, because, you have to promote yourself. I mean, it's like doing an art show.
yeah,
Why do this show and not let people know? So, we try to do that, but, the internet, there's no filter on it. I guess there are, people that, you know, music fans trust that they can go to those sites and, hear about, you know, different, um, forms of music being made that they might not have heard. but there's just so much out there. It's hard, really.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. How do you get heard in this massive uh, world out there with the whole streaming and everything? And I'm kind of wondering, like, how do you, because you, uh, how do you promote yourself now? Do you do it through social media, or is it more the rooted old school?
I use the social media, to contact the fan base that we've built up on Instagram and Facebook, especially. There are some other sites I'll usually put it out. And we did have some promotion when the album came out through the label. Um,
Mhm.
and also, like reviewers and whatever. And also, they bought us about 6 weeks of radio
Mm.
um, promotion, which we actually charted. We made it up to number 62,
Oh, that's amazing.
and
Yay,
both.
Yeah. Okay. And
congratulations.
also, that you were saying that you were reaching a lot of younger crowd are coming now. Would you say between 18 and 24? So you obviously are reaching out.
Yeah, you have to. I don't like to overpost, but people like to know when the shows are, and every now and then we'll make a little TikTok video with the
Mm.
upcoming shows and that kind of thing. But uh, I don't like posts like 5 and 6 times a day what I ate for breakfast, and he's he's cut my hair. I mean, my hair does need to be cut right now, but you know. And
Yeah.
we all have, uh, our own social media presence in the band, so it bounces off of that between everybody's friends, and they go, "Hey, did you know this Pylon Reenactment Society is gonna be coming to Chicago?" And so
Mhm.
they put the word out with their friends so that
Yeah.
they know.
It feels like a great abyss, these, the streaming services and the way music is handled nowadays. It seems like there are 3 or 4 people that seem to be pushed with millions of dollars, and everybody else is fighting to be seen, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like we necessarily fight to be seen. We just let people know and they can decide for themselves because we don't have millions of dollars.
Mhm.
Um, but the streaming services, that's important, the download, but actually getting out there and playing live shows and selling merchandise at the shows, that's actually how we make money. We haven't
Yeah.
really, you can, like get played 20,000 times and they'll give you $3 or whatever.
No. You were saying that set earlier with the streaming. You
Yeah,
had
I
a
mean,
breakdown.
I mean, they pay I was looking it up for this interview that 80 approximately 80% of the people 80% of the people get their music through streaming. I unfortunately am one of those people as well. And the average American spends 75 minutes per day streaming, and it's 0.004 cents at the high end per stream on Spotify. So it's a weird world, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing I personally feel like I can do about it, but if somebody likes you well enough, they will tend to buy a physical object or they'll pay to download it, you know?
Now it looks like more and more artists are touring. Like you said, Las Vegas now, they all have residency now. So I think that's where they actually you make money, as you said, the merchandise, go out playing and tours. People want to see you live, and yeah, it's a weird weird
Yeah.
world.
Oh, yeah, yeah, let's see.
Oh
All right.
yeah, oh I
Magna
love that.
Factory.
Yeah, it folds out so you can see.
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
That's really cool.
yeah,
And then
very
it
cool.
has even though it's one album, it has a gatefold photo.
Oh,
Very
that's
nice.
great. Oh, I
That's
love it.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you can get that say that again, where you like people to buy it?
Well, you can check with your local record store.
Yeah.
But if you look here, Strolling Bones
Yes, Rolling
Records
Bones Records.
Rolling
Yeah.
Bones. Yeah.
.com, and two of these songs were written by Pylon in 1979 and
Okay.
didn't make it
Ah,
onto
Okay.
any of our recordings. And Jason found those, and we learned them and buffed them up and rearranged them or whatever. But the rest of it we wrote
oh, that's
and
great.
performed.
Very cool.
Oh,
Very
that's
cool.
excellent. So everybody go and buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll enjoy it. And talking about being a real human being with the recordings. When you go to record, usually I will sing with them, and those will be considered what are called scratch vocals. And then I'll come back and re-record it because usually in most studios there's a little bit of a bleed into the vocal booth from
Mhm.
the room where they're
Mhm.
playing. And so there's one song on here, Messenger, that it was a scratch vocal that I sang all in one piece,
Mm.
and there is no they didn't have to like buff it up by taking a word out and putting another word in. So
Yeah.
I was very happy with that. That doesn't happen very often. Like if I mispronounce something, I might have to go do a drop in,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So, do you guys record on tape or you record digitally?
Well, this was recorded on tape and then transferred to digital for mixing.
Very
Okay.
For
interesting. Okay, so you guys still, but the original recording is on analog. Very interesting. So you are still kind of back in 1979 with the sound.
Well, there is something about I think analog tape that is warmer.
Mhm.
There's something warmer about it. I don't know how you could even describe it. It's like the difference between video and film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
video can be sharper, but I think sometimes it lacks a little of the atmosphere that film can bring.
Talking about technology, looking back, I'm a filmmaker, and so is Caroline. And I grew up. My training was on 16 millimeter, and to see, Athens, Georgia, the film Inside Out, shot on 16 millimeter. I just imagine them with their Nagras running around, and it's made me, you know, have sort of want those days back because it does look different. It looks
Yeah,
completely
it does.
different than if they had shot that. If they had shot that film on digital cameras nowadays, it would not have been the same film.
No, no, it
No,
wouldn't.
no,
You
it
know,
wouldn't.
it takes real skill just to expose correctly. Just to get an image is something as a film student takes some trial and error to figure out how to use the light meter and all that stuff.
Well, we were real lucky, or um, the Athens, Georgia Inside Out producers were lucky that Jim Herbert, he taught painting at the University of Georgia, was also known for art films,
Mm.
um, shot it.
Oh, he did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
as
then
well.
the soundtrack that was brought in was Jim Hawkins. He, um, had his worked on a lot of films, but also from early on. I mean, he's back from the Allman Brothers days. Yeah, so
Mm.
he had a lot of experience with like live recording. So
Ah.
I think that really was another element that really made that film work.
So you
Yeah.
feel comfortable in the internet age, in the digital age, and all that you've seen change over the past, what has it been? 40 years, I guess, right?
Yeah, more than 40 years, from
Mhm.
Well, I'll be 69 next month, so I guess like everybody, I started out as a Luddite, and then I picked some cameras up, early on, painted, drew, you know, have a degree in drawing and painting. But sometime in the let's see, when would it in the 90s, the early 90s, kind of at the beginning of the internet, there were things
Mhm,
called message boards. So I
mhm.
was aware of those, and my husband was big time into that. He's the lead singer for Squalls,
Okay.
wrote a
Mm.
lot of their material. And so then I was working at Kinko's, and I saw the very beginnings of the internet and the search engines. You remember Alta Vista?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes, yes, yes.
And everybody had an AOL,
Yeah,
uh, email, and, you had to, go through a modem that made those
yeah, yeah.
sounds or
Yeah.
whatever. And so now everything's wireless.
Mm,
You don't have to have, your computer. I guess, the computer that really changed it all for a lot of us, was like, um, the first iMacs,
Yeah.
because they were
I know.
self-contained. The
Yeah.
whole sales point of those is you could take it out of the box and plug it in, it would work,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And so, we've gone to from that to people are carrying around basically a handheld computer.
Yeah.
yeah.
They don't really think anything about it, but, you can communicate, you can film, you can record, get on the internet. It's just an amazing world. Technology is amazing now.
Yeah, it
It
really is.
really is. I mean, it has changed so much. You just made me think of when you said about the phone, like how everybody's doing, they're filming themselves, the little TikToks. I think a lot of people wants to be famous and seen and have billions of followers, and it's
They just
changing.
wanna be famous for the sake of being famous.
Yeah, yeah. How do you think AI is going to change the music industry?
It already is having some impact, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, but I think, you know, there are always gonna be people who seek authenticity.
Hmm.
You can tell when something is authentic. Of course, we're at what is probably the beginning of what it all could be, because, they spent I don't know how many years building up to this point, because they had to have, machine learning. They can manipulate video and pretty much make somebody say or do whatever they want, I guess.
It does feel that there's so many voices in the room. Yeah, what goes viral for whatever reason is sort of what you pay attention to. Like, I can't name it. I mean, I guess I should be careful saying this, but I really can't name a Taylor Swift song, but I know all about Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? It's this
Yeah.
viral stuff pushing into my feed, into into the comments people make, into the late night jokes. It's a different world.
Caroline, who do you, listen to? Who do you like?
Well, I mean, my big people, there was Prince and Michael Jackson. There was the one I really loved, and soul music, and I have Bob Marley on the wall. I mean, um, I was more into soul and hip hop music and all this, but they were my big ones. And actually made me think of today, because Michael Jackson's was one of the biggest one ever, but that was before, say with Prince, before internet.
Right.
And I was asking this kid one day, and we were talking, and I was saying, "Oh yeah, I was sleeping outside to get a ticket, to see a concert." And this was I'm from Sweden originally, And it was winter and cold, and you outside and you sleeping overnight so you can get the ticket. That doesn't even exist. And he's like, what do you mean? Going and see concert, his word was completely different than mine was.
Yeah, I remember standing in line for tickets too. And, the thing is, you seem to have a better chance of getting a decent ticket that way than now, because if it's a really big show, it's going to sell out within 5 minutes. There are
Yeah,
just a few people that are controlling, the different sites. And they have buyers go in and buy them, and then they are reselling them an hour later, StubHub or whatever, one of those other sites. And I guess that's how they make a living. But it's kind of hard for real fans, of a band, to be able to afford that, because when they put them back up, what might have cost $75 has gone up to $500 or whatever
Yeah.
a
yeah,
pop.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I do have to say that I was early on. I had a 4-track, and then I early on got a analog to digital recorder, which really changed my life because I was able to record and mix and do all these things I never, with a 4-track, you're not really able to do that sort of thing.
mm,
And now I put my stuff online, and I don't promote it or anything, but I just feel like there is something communal about having it out there, even if nobody listens to it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's available, and you never know who's gonna find it,
yeah, true.
and if it's good, I think eventually people do find it.
Sure.
Not always, but I think they do.
I think I just like being part of the voice, whatever the collective voice. I would say that the internet, whereas when it was a 4-track recorder, nobody could hear it. So there is something to the internet and communication and
Yeah,
Yeah,
being able to say something.
and it definitely was a lifeline, a godsend, so to speak, for me during the pandemic
mm,
when we were in lockdown, because I was able to maintain being part of the music and art community
yeah.
and with my friends. I'm sure y'all had the same experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, thank God for, in that case, for the internet, and you could still meet and do Zoom calls, and it was great. I mean, I really want to think like the what's eventually is going to happen, that the authentic music, like you guys are doing, some that people's going to more and more want to see that than wanted to listen to AI driven music, because I think it's, I don't know. I mean, Seth and I have talked a lot about this. Let's just say Prince or whoever. AI can't create another Prince. I don't think so. I don't think, or Pylon, or, anyone. There's something that's in here.
Right. Yeah, the internet doesn't have a heart, does it?
No, it
No.
does
AI
not.
doesn't have a heart. So, yeah, there is a coldness to that. I think it eventually is going to be more useful probably as they learn more, but it's going to take artists still to run that, to make people enjoy
Yeah.
listening to it.
Can we try something? It's a AI generator of songs. So what's on your mind? What do you think if we can do this? What do you think? What should our song be?
I'm ready for fall.
Okay.
I'm ready for fall. I love it.
I'm okay. Can you guys
Ready.
see it?
Yes.
I'm ready for fall. Post punk heavy bass. All right. All right, it's creating it. I think it's actually going to work. All right. Autumn shadows. is the name of the song.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
let's see. All right, let's play it. Oh, they did lyrics too?
Leaves are falling, spinning round. Cold winds whisper through the town. Dark skies looming overhead. Summer come, now warmth has fled. City lights, they flicker on. Shadows creep as day is gone. Echoes linger in the streets.
All right, here comes the chorus.
Yeah, listen to the chorus.
Silent nights with restless beats. I'm ready for fall. Catch me as I dive. Arm shadows crawl, feeling so alive. Cold rain tapping on my pain.
All right, have we heard enough?
We haven't heard one.
Memories, they stop.
That is hilarious. Oh my God.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Almost it
goodness.
sounds a little gothy there.
Yeah.
But that it's nobody's voice. It's no instrument. It's all AI created. And I
Yeah.
have to say, it's not like, I'm not going to go out and buy that, but
It is a little cheesy, isn't it?
it's a little
It's very
cheesy, but it's
cheesy
pretty
and bad
amazing that it can
lyrics.
do that, I think.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah.
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 And
I
how
mean-
do you how do you copyright that?
Good question.
I don't know the legalities of it. I know that on Spotify there's a big to do. I don't think it's completely worked out, but there's somebody named Johann Rohr, I believe, who may or
Yeah.
may not exist, who's
No,
made
he exists.
he exists. Okay.
He does exist. Yeah.
Okay, he exists, but he's made many thousands of songs that Spotify has put on using AI that Spotify has put on their playlists, right, Caroline?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't have to pay royalties, so they're taking money. And yeah, they're basically
He's
using
one of
AI
the
music.
most played.
He's just printing money there.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much.
Well, Spotify's CEO got $350 million this year. So,
Well, how much did that guy get?
well, he probably got millions. He probably got millions. I'm sure he did.
Yeah. I think
Wow.
his music is more like the relaxing
Yeah.
meditation kind of, but apparently there's so many uploads of this, and I think it's AI generated. I think you're right. At least I think he's real because I saw a photo of him. So I think he's actually supposedly Swedish too.
Oh, that's how you know about him. Well, it's like royalty-free music they can use like in a spa or whatever.
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Or yoga class.
Yeah, it's I think it's
Yeah.
kind of that stuff. But I mean, what we just made, while a little cheesy, what happens in 10 years when it's not so cheesy?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Do you?
I think, yeah, I think I
know,
do.
I know.
I think I think AI is going to get so good that it's going to blur the line. It's going to blur the lines between being alive and not being alive, and it's going to make music that has soul because it has a soul. That's my personal feeling.
Yeah. If they don't regulate it and start to regulate what's going on, because I think that the research they're trying to do, they're really trying to make AI be conscious. Can you say that's it?
Yeah, sentient. Well, nobody can
Sentient,
prove
yeah.
you can't even prove you're sentient, but yeah.
Well, nobody knows exactly where consciousness exists,
No,
True.
but they're definitely getting close to what they call AGI, which is this human level intelligence. Now, obviously, that's impossible. I mean, that's like comparing a dog to a human. I mean, they're two different things. But at the end of the day, we're just neurons connected, and they're just connecting neurons. There just happen to be computers, computer nodes. And
Yeah.
I think what sounds cheesy right now is not going to sound cheesy in 10 years. You know, for better or for worse, I don't know. You know,
I don't know. I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey. They did
yeah,
have to disconnect Hal.
yeah, but that was 1968, and I mean, people have been thinking about what a machine would be like that's intelligent for a long time. I'm sure. I mean, obviously, that was. I think 2001 was 1968. So that
Yeah,
script
that's
would.
about right.
That's
Yeah, and you go back
Yeah.
to Metropolis and the
yeah,
30s.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ever since there's really been automation, I think people have started to think, what if this became intelligent? And
Right.
I think
Eh,
we're going to see it. Some people from OpenAI have come out and said, we think this is dangerous and needs to be slowed down. Some of the programmers.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I wanted like either one of two features. One of them was the Star Trek,
Yeah.
Hmm.
where the bridge had, all the races and sexes.
Yeah.
Everybody was
Yes.
equal.
Yes.
No bad words. I like that.
Me too.
And the other was the Jetsons,
Mm.
in which case technology really was serving
Yes.
man. And, I would like to see more of a Jetsons future because, he wants to do all the housework and all the, you know, menial type jobs. Um, let AI do that and let me be the creative one.
Exactly.
I like that. Yes.
I
Yes.
like that.
Let's human be human and let us do the creation and create and be what we had dreams,
And my
you know?
my other cousin Nick, who we interviewed, he's a programmer, and he says, I welcome it all. He's a musician as well, an excellent musician. And he said, I welcome it all because when it's doing my job, I get to sit at home and play my guitar, and that's all I want to do anyway. So maybe it'll give us time to be more creative,
Yeah, one would hope. But if it's right now the music that they're using and eating
Yeah.
up all the money on there and the streaming, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would like to see the future where we're our burdens eased and
Yeah.
everybody can eat and live in a safe place.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That
that's
ever
what
gonna happen.
I just want to say thank you. And I also just want to say I'm a big fan. It's
Yeah.
just, it's just kind of cool talking to you because
Yeah. And
we've been,
me too. I have to say that I was when I started listening to your music, I was like, oh my God, this is so good, Sam.
she kept texting me.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, this is really good.
Hey,
So I'm so
Oof.
excited that you guys are
yeah.
back again and doing music and showing the word. This is excellent. You guys are
Oh,
great.
yeah. Thank you both so much. We're having the best time. Pylon Reenactment Society, make it to anyone's town. Please come see us.
Of
Yes,
course,
So,
please
yes,
see them.
come.
Yes, please see them. And
Yes.
I think I'm gonna have to go on. It's Bandcamp, right? Is that where I can order some merch? I'm gonna need to get a T-shirt, I believe.
Pylon Reenactment Society is on Bandcamp.
Magnet Factory, pick it
Yep.
up. And on Strolling Bones, right?
Strolling Bones Records.
Strolling
Strolling-
Bones Records. All right, Vanessa. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. This was so much fun talking to you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening to The Internet is Crack. Tune in next week when we have another great conversation about robotics, AI, and the internet. You can watch us or listen to us on YouTube or Spotify or many other outlets. And don't forget to follow us on social media. See you next Monday.